Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My name is Matt and this is Code Journey. In today's video we are going to be conducting a mock interview with my friend from Twitter, Danny. A couple weeks ago I shared on Twitter how I was impressed with one candidate that I interviewed for the company I work for. And when I was sharing that on Twitter, Danny actually DM'd me and asked if we could set up some mock interview because he was very interested in trying and testing himself out. We talked a little and I asked him if he was okay with me recording it and sharing on YouTube, and he said it was fine. So here we are. Please leave a like below if you enjoy this type of video, and I will set up more mock interviews for you to learn about this process and how you can prepare for them better. Let's jump into the interview. Hello everyone, I am in here with Danny. We are going to be conducting a mock interview. Yeah, go ahead, Danny, and present yourself.
Okay, my name is Daniel. I'm a full stack developer. I've been doing this for a while, but I think I want to take up the challenge of, getting myself involved in this mock interview. I don't know what to expect, but I hope I am able to impress someone out there.
So if you are okay, let's get started. Sounds good?
I'm okay.
Talk to me about what stack do you manage and work on.
Okay, I'm currently working, or for the past 3 months thereabout, I've been working on React on the front end, and strangely, I'm using Laravel on the back end. And the reason you'll be wondering, why am I combining React? Okay, because normally the Laravel people do Vue.js, but for some strange, Vue.js is a lot easier than React.
Yes,
I have
totally
tried
agree
it,
with that.
but I don't feel very much at home with it for some strange reasons. Like, I think I feel more at home with React.js. So, and the choice why I chose Laravel for the back end, the budget for the project, it's going to be cheaper to have Laravel. The PHP, hosting PHP is a lot cheaper these days than hosting uh, Node.js, MongoDB. A lot goes into all that stuff. So the budget, that's why. So I'm using React. So JavaScript is something I enjoy doing, but these days I prefer to use TypeScript. I mean, it just like helps the workflow to be easier. So the moment, and I prefer it strongly typed.
Okay,
The
yeah,
reason is
that
because
makes
if
sense.
something is out of place, my IDE will let me know at dev time.
Yes, that's good. So let's just recap a little. I think when it comes to front-end framework, it is fine. Of course, React is not properly a framework, more like a library, but the idea is the same. I think it comes like to preference, and if you feel more comfortable doing working with React, that is fine. Currently, the job market is inclining towards more React, so that is a good skill to have. Yeah, you shouldn't care if the more standard stack is to combine Vue.js with that. If you feel better and you develop faster and cleaner code with React, that is just fine. I don't have a lot of experience with Laravel, like very little actually, but that is fine. I don't really care to go into details of Laravel, but rather just talk about fundamentals when we get to the backend part. Sounds good?
Okay.
Well, describe to me your last project, because we have already talked about the stack and the technology we are going to be expecting on here. Just what does your last project or favorite project do?
Okay, my last project is it's an e-commerce site, but it's more like the AliExpress, when you can have multiple stores being hosted on. So the whole idea is people can create stores, add products, and manage the products and their customers. And also there are alternate payment method. As the store owner, you can choose the payment method you want to plug in. It's just for you to just set it up, configure it using your own unique private keys and security keys, and the payment goes straight to you. You're managing everything yourself.
Okay, let me see if I understood correctly. So, is this product for the consumer base, or it is like for one employer that will have a lot of stores?
It is for one employer, but the employer intends to open it up for more people to come
For
use the
multiple
platform.
customers. Okay, so
Yes.
I could be able to go to this employer and say, hey, I want to create my page with a lot of stores and sell products, and they will sell me that service, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, that's
that's
the way
good.
it works.
That's a very nice project to work on and get experience. So let's go through a full request of this project. How would let's say, let's put an action, create a store. Let's say I want to create a store. How would that be in your project? How does the request flow and gets the response back to the UI for the user?
Okay, the creator store, it's just you apply. It's just a form, a simple form you fill, indicating your store name first of all, then a description of what you want to sell, or just a minimal information. Then pending approval from the admin, you'll be able to your store can come online. Then you can add more settings like add a logo, then cover images and some other. Then the payment methods. Maybe you want to receive bank transfers, or you want to use a particular payment method, say PayPal, or you set it all up. Then you can add products, start all those shipping information and everything.
Okay, yeah,
You
wait
know.
a second, because now I want to get a little bit more technical. I think I have, no, I think I have a good idea of what the project does, and I want to get into how does that form that you fill in to create a store gets into your project. Like, do you have a REST API? How does that work in
Okay,
the AI? Okay,
interestingly, I am actually using this. I'm using GraphQL.
okay, that's good. That's where I wanted to
Yeah,
get.
GraphQL is my backend. That's I'm not using the REST API, and I got so used to using REST API all this while, but this time around I just had to use GraphQL. The reason is because this particular product is going to be ported into a mobile app in the recent future, and GraphQL makes it easy. You might not need as much information on the mobile app ends of it as you would on the web app. So with GraphQL, you can only ask for the information you need. For example, now when listing the products, maybe all you need is the name and the price and the discount. Okay, so
Okay.
until the user clicks on that particular product, then the other information will be asked. It will be demanded from the server, which saves you know consumption of data, because around here, in Nigeria, we internet internet speeds and also the cost of internet is a challenge for some people.
Yeah,
So when you
makes
have to
sense.
be asking for, okay, like the issue I had when using WordPress REST API was because for every request you had no choice. You had to call for everything.
Mm.
Everything comes from the title to the content, and it doesn't make sense just to display a list of posts. You don't even want to like check out the accepts or the main content. So that was why I went with GraphQL this time around.
Yeah, that's actually great because you have a real world constraint and you need to optimize your system to be data friendly and use as
Yeah.
little as possible, and therefore you cannot use a WordPress solution that is general for everything and just retrieves all the stuff because it is easier that way for the framework, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, that's good. So you get to GraphQL, and how do you build? Let's go through the flow of the request response a little bit deeper. So
Okay.
you show to the user in React the form. They fill in the data they need to create a store, and then that goes to GraphQL, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that goes to GraphQL
And how
and
does the
GraphQL.
response flow back and you redirect to another page or something? How does that work?
Okay. The trick here is since my front end is isolated from the back end, and it's deliberate. It means the kind of response that comes from GraphQL determines where next, the page would redirect to. If there's an error, the request stays on that page and displays the error and gives a hint on what to do. But if it's successful, then the front end, the React app will now redirect to the next, to the next page. And that page will now, you know, request the relevant information it needs to display.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So
good.
that's the workflow.
That's good. I think we covered what I wanted to check. You understand the architecture of your tech and how a request flows and get a response back to the user, and that is very good. Okay, let's switch a little to object-oriented programming principles. Sounds good?
Okay.
So can you describe the three fundamental pillars of this paradigm? Do you know what those are?
Three fundamental pillars. Well, I am not sure. I know what you're asking because I have used object-oriented programming a lot,
Okay,
and I
that's
still
good.
kind of use it, even though these days I favor the functional programming paradigm.
Yeah, that
I,
makes
I
sense.
favor it more, but to achieve some things, like even in JavaScript, some closures, more or less object oriented. That's the concept behind it. So you just encapsulate states and also methods that flow with it into one. So what I would say I know about object oriented programming, I don't know. I can't give you a textbook definition
Okay,
or the
no problem.
pillars.
No,
But
but
let
you
me tell
already
you.
you already mentioned one. The first pillar of this paradigm is encapsulation. So if you don't know
Okay,
them by book,
oh my
we
god.
can guide the
Okay, okay,
conversation and get there, and
okay,
you will
okay.
answer them.
Well, that's an accidental answer. I wasn't intending to answer. I was just flowing freely. Okay. Then of course, I believe object-oriented programming helps to model relationships. And it has different elements. There is the inheritance.
Okay, that is the second. That is the second one, inheritance. You are getting to the answer without knowing it, and that is great because you know about.
Okay, there is the inheritance aspect of it, and there's also the what is this one called? Okay.
That is the last one that
Mm,
you don't remember. I'm sure.
I'm not sure. Okay, there is inheritance. There is
Have
what
you
else?
heard
What else?
of polymorphism?
Okay, polymorphism. Yeah,
That
I
is
think I
that is
kind of
the third one. So the three pillars
have an idea what
of object-oriented
polymorph.
programming are encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Of course, this
Okay,
is
cool.
more textbook-like knowledge, but it is very important to understand and be able to explain the three of them if you are going to program in object-oriented way, right? So let's go through each of them and see what can you describe of them, right? So what is encapsulation for you?
Okay, encapsulation. This just means that the class, like since that is how it is described, the class is able to hold state,
Yes.
um, which means for each object, it's unique that it holds state, and it's kind of has its own methods that can work on the state it holds. For let me give you an example, since you said we're going to be discussing ORM later.
Yes.
A typical ORM object
Hmm.
can have methods such as the create, update, and destroy or delete. You know, so depending on what, so it will be able to act on when you call those methods. It will act on the particular information it has, is holding on to, encapsulated in it, and it will be able to communicate back to the database to perform the action and then return a result.
Okay. Let me ask a question to see if you are understanding here. So let's imagine I have a class that is to
Okay.
model a car, right? We have cars,
Okay.
and this car has a state inside. It has a price tag, it has the color of the card, the brand, and a couple more things. You, as a consumer of this object, you know this car,
Okay.
would you be able to modify the the brand for this car, for example? Would you think that that is okay, and how would you do it? Do you expect my object car to show you a method or a property that says brand and you just modify it?
Well, it depends on how the object was created.
Okay.
For example, if the brand it's a private property,
Yes.
then you are not able to update it directly, except if there is a method that it has that grants you the opportunity to update. And the reason is because validation, you can only validate data when you use the when you specifically delegate methods to
Okay.
carry out those.
Yeah, that's correct. That is the point I was trying to get. Encapsulation is about I am responsible for my own state, and you shouldn't be able to modify it as you please.
Mm-hmm.
I should
Yeah.
have my own variables, my own state of the class, and then I will give you properties or methods that I
Mm.
think are useful and consider all the validations of my object for you to consume this state, to see this data, and modify it if it is necessary. For example, I
Yeah.
would expect a car would have its brand and its color and the amount of doors in the constructor, because once you create a
Yeah.
car, you cannot
Once you create
modify
it,
its
mm-hmm,
brand
come
later.
by it.
If a car is a
Mm.
BMW, it will be a BMW all its life,
Many days of leave.
right?
Yes.
But maybe the
Yes.
price tag can be modified.
Can
The price
change.
tag will be inserted on creation in the constructor, but you will also have a property to set the price tag. So maybe
Or maybe the
if
color too could
yeah,
change
after
with
a
time.
couple of years you can change the price tag. Do you see that? That is encapsulation right there, because I am responsible for my own state and I give you an interface of what you can consume. But your answer was pretty good. You were on point. It just needed a little bit more development to
It's all right.
explain this,
Thank
but
you.
you
I
had the
believe
concept.
I have learned
That's good.
something new.
I'm
Thank
happy
you.
for that. You're welcome, man. So let's move to inheritance. What is inheritance and what would you use it for?
Okay, inheritance, as the English suggests, means just like how a parent would have the children inherit some features from them.
Yes,
For
correct.
example, a human being will give birth to another human being. Okay, so the main things that stay the same in inheritance are mostly the methods. Mostly methods stay the same. Anything the parent can do, the the child can do.
Okay,
But some other things like some of the properties could change. It's not everything okay, let me try to give you an example here.
go ahead.
Vehicle. A vehicle could be, it's a broad statement. A
Yes,
vehicle is something, a machine that's like carries you from one point to the other. A truck is a vehicle. A car is a vehicle. But of course, the truck is different from the car. They don't look the same.
correct.
The only thing they have in common is that they move, motion. So if the parent class is vehicle, then the children are the truck and the car. They are inheriting motion from the parent. But of course, they can have other properties and also methods of their own. For example, um, a vehicle has more tires. Sorry, a truck will have more tires than a regular car. Then maybe a truck could offload its content depending on the type of truck. If it's a tipper, it can like offload its content. But maybe a car cannot even carry as much. So like when you're talking about methods, there will be no method to say in a car, offload your content. I mean, okay, but
Yeah,
for a
okay, that
tipper,
makes sense.
there'll be a method to to give that instruction for the tipper to offload maybe the gravel or the sand it's carrying or something. So as much as there's something they have in common, a parent class they inherit some things from, you know, along the line they would not be exactly the same.
Yes, that's very correct and very complete. And the last one will be polymorphism, and this is a little bit harder.
Okay,
Let's see what
polymorphism.
you know
Okay,
about this.
the thing is this. It's been a while. Like I said, I have not been. I've heard polymorphism. I've read about it, but right now my head is blank. So maybe you help me with the definition and let me see if I can pick up on it.
Sure, no problem. So basically, in polymorphism, what we want is to use objects that have a shared interface, that have shared behavior, and treat all of them as a certain type. So for
Okay.
polymorphism to exist, there needs to be at least 3 objects, right? One that will be
Okay.
the consumer, that will be the one that uses these objects, and at
Mm.
least 2 objects that share this interface, that share this contract that you will be using them for. So for example, let's say you have a superclass that will be client, and then you will have 2 subclasses that will be client VIP and, I don't know, regular client. So we have a superclass, or that could be also an interface, but we will touch onto that later. We have a superclass that is client, and then we have 2 subclasses, one for client VIP and one for regular client. And then we have another object that can be the manager or something like that, that
Okay.
has a collection of all the clients in your system, okay?
Okay.
And let's suppose this, we just discussed in inheritance, that we have
Okay.
shared behavior among all the subclasses that can be represented or established in the superclass, and then the subclasses can override this and put their own implementation, correct? So let's
Okay.
suppose the client has a method that will be get invoices value, so it is a number and not a collection. That will make things easier. Get invoices value, and that will be the total of all the invoices for this client, right? And this method would have a regular behavior in the superclass that would be just do a total sum of all the invoices, that is a collection, and just return the sum of all the invoices. Sounds good? And then,
Okay.
are you following me so far? Do you have any
Yeah, I'm
question?
following. I'm
Okay,
following so
sounds
far.
good. And then on the 2 subclasses for the client VIP, we can say client VIP already pay a certain amount and they have this discount because they are very important persons, right? So
Okay.
in the implementation of this get invoices total, they will do the sum of all these invoices, but then apply the discount that the
Right.
client VIP
Discount.
has, right? So they will
Okay.
have different behavior for that method. And let's suppose the regular client does something different. They have all the invoices and add a premium of for the first 2 months. They also get a discount, but only for 2 months. So it is not a fixed value. Sounds good? So they
Okay.
have a different behavior in the 2 subclasses. And
Mm.
the manager,
Yeah.
that is the consumer for this, does not care, and that is okay. He does not need to care about the subclasses that are there for clients. He will treat
Mm.
all of the clients through the interface or through the contract of the superclass client. So he will have a collection that says clients, and he can do a clients dot for each and ask for each client get the invoice total, and then just treat all of the clients. In this case there are only 2 types, but there could be multiples, like I don't know, 10 types of clients, and the manager will not care about that. He will treat them all in the same way, and that is the polymorphism, because we have multiple forms, multiple
Okay.
ways of subclasses implementing this behavior, but the consumer treats all of them equally and just consumes through the contract that is in the superclass. I think we spend a lot of time in here in the fundamentals. I had one
About
or
object
two.
oriented.
Yeah, I had one or two more questions for object-oriented, but I prefer to move along so we don't take a lot of time. So, do you know or use any methodology for developing software?
Methodology.
That would be like
Mm,
agile methodology, waterfall. Does any of this
okay,
ring a bell?
okay. Agile methodology. Okay, there's this Scrum thing. What's it called again? Yeah, Agile. Yeah.
Do you use it?
Yep and no. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, of course, I believe in the principles, but it's just that sometimes for my own kind of work settings and the rest, there are some aspects of it that does not really,
Okay.
does not really
Uh,
apply
let
or
me
go
let me
well.
ask
So it's like,
something before. Yeah, are you working alone or in a team? Because I think I didn't ask this.
okay, I have a small team.
Okay.
I have a small team, so as much as I'm the one kind of providing leadership and direction, okay, I have a small team of a UX person that does all the design because it can be very distracting to be coding and trying to get the functionality right at the same time you are reasoning what it will look like or feel. It's a big distraction. So I have someone working on the UX angle of it. Then I also have someone else who helps to like translate the UX design to code.
Okay, that's good.
Okay,
And how do you
so
coordinate with these people? Do you have a dashboard for task? Do you set up goals to get deliverables? How do you work this out?
of course, we use Trello
Okay, that's good.
to we use Trello to like lay out all the tasks and the targets. So it's easier to for the work to flow that way. So we just have targets, and we try not to like lump the thing up. We try to be realistic. In fact, would rather that the targets be low hanging fruits than the high hanging ones. The idea is this: we don't want to set high targets. We will not be able
To achieve, but rather
to
put,
achieve, and will be
yeah.
discouraged at the end of the day. So sometimes I see some of my team members even going over and beyond the target for the day because it's like it's so easy. It's something I can do in 30 minutes, and that's what I'm supposed to do the whole day. So they can do that comfortably and even move on to other tasks, which is fine. Because in the past, we've had situations whereby we had high targets, we couldn't meet, we were all disappointed in ourselves and discouraged at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So,
I can feel that. It happens. It is very important to try and estimate good and also to have some extra space in case something goes wrong, and instead of
yeah,
feeling discouraged by not meeting your deadline, rather you have this extra space to work on that stuff that got delayed. Okay, and do you have daily meetings or something? Do you talk with this team in a regular basis?
of course, yes, yes. We keep in touch regularly. We use the conventional social media methods, and we also use there's this other one, Slack. Okay,
Slack,
thank you.
yes. No, I didn't know which app you were referring to, but yeah, I use Slack too, so I could have helped you there. Sorry.
Collaborator.
Okay,
Yes.
that's great. That is all part of the methodology you are following. Do you also do like retrospectives? Do you have meetings where you look back on a project and how it went and things that you could improve on or not?
That is what we usually do before taking on new projects. We would
Okay.
want to like think back, okay, the last one, how did we fare? And what are the things we had to improve on? Or where were our areas of strength and what exactly was the weakness, so we can take on the new task without having the baggage of what went wrong with the last one. So we can
Okay,
just have a clean
that's
slate.
great. That's great. That is all part of the methodology you are following. So let's move to another topic. Do you know Git? Do you use it, or what other
Yeah,
source control?
I use it. I
Sounds good. Can you
I use it.
describe what it is useful for?
It's been a savior. Okay, let me describe what I use it for. Okay, version control for my projects.
So how do you use this?
So
Okay, that's very good. That's a
okay,
nice
I
repository
okay.
there.
So from this is how I work. I usually would create a project first here.
Okay,
I prefer to do it here first, and the README file and everything.
sounds good.
Then the next thing after creating a repo here, the next thing I do is I go to my command line. Okay, after copying the URL, I just say git clone. I put in the name of I put in
The name of the
the
repository sounds
URL
good.
and I
Yeah.
clone it and I start working. So that's before I do all the npm init, the
Sounds good.
packages in files, and
Do
that
you
will be my
use?
first commit. The moment I have my packages in, I make my first commit, and I might not push, I might not push it immediately, but maybe much later I push. But these days I try to push as often as possible because
Yeah,
you know how
to
it is.
allow, yeah,
These
to allow
systems
missing or
can just
yeah.
kill and because my work is precious.
Of
There are
course.
some solutions that will not come the same when you lose them.
Yeah,
So I just try to
it has
push my
happened to
commits
me.
as often
It
as
has happened to
possible.
me that the laptop just dies. Once I got one laptop stolen from me, and I had one
Wow.
commit without pushing it, and I regretted it. So now every time I commit, I usually push it. Let me do one more question on Git, and we can move on. Have you ever worked with merging branches?
Okay. Okay. Yes,
Yes,
I do.
that.
But strangely, I there's a way I prefer to work.
Okay,
This
how do
is
you do
this is
it?
the way I prefer to work. It is on rare occasions that when I have something stable, I put it in a branch.
Okay,
So I go messing up the master. I don't know why I prefer to do it that way. Okay, for example, there's a package I just worked on. It is for a custom reactivity pattern in React.js.
okay.
Because I found some holes in the way React.js just, you know, re-renders your components unnecessarily. For example, I don't know, do you use React?
Yes, I use
Do you?
React. I am
Okay,
not
you
an
do.
expert on it. I have been learning it for like 1 or 2 months now, but yeah, I know a little
Oh,
bit
that
of it.
that's serious. It's all right. So, if you have a use state hook,
Yes.
maybe one for a modal, the other one to hold some state. Anytime you set a value in any of the states, it will have to re-render the whole component.
Oh, okay,
Meanwhile, the elements consuming the values might just be one or two, not
yes,
necessarily the whole stuff.
correct.
So I came up with a custom um, a custom reactivity pattern that uses the context and
Okay,
also some other custom hooks to ensure that only
only renders
the
what has been
component,
modified.
only the
Yeah.
components consuming, you know, a particular value from the state will get re-rendered.
Oh, that's
Okay,
very
that
good
means
actually.
I will have to compose the components into groups. The groups that need this particular state, I compose them together as a component and not just combine them as elements. you know. So while working on the project, anytime I make modifications, for example, the moment I publish uh, a particular version,
Mm-hmm.
I create a new branch for that version. So
Okay,
the master becomes the field where I work on the next version.
okay.
I prefer to work that way. Strangely, I know I've had instances in the past where I've had to go work in a branch, then later merge and the rest. But somehow I don't think that particular workflow does not, I don't know. So if anything goes wrong with I've messed up my master, do you know what I would do? I'll get rid of the master and bring and bring back, yes, the last stable version I have. I don't know. I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah, no, that is okay. That is okay. I mean, it's not the usual workflow, and as long as you know it and you know how to work in the usual workflow for Git in most companies, I don't think that's a problem.
No, no, I get your point. I know when you're having to, for example, now it's just like when you are contributing to an open source project,
Yes, correct.
you
You will
know,
have to follow the patterns
yes,
that they use
you
there.
have to follow.
Yes,
Yeah, you pull before you push anything. You have
you
to
have to
pull
create a pull request
yes.
and so on. Yeah.
Then yes, and then they will be the ones to see how they can merge, and if everything goes fine, and they're sure they trust what you've worked on. So I think in my own space, that's why I say it's a crazy pattern,
No,
but
that's
it kind
fine.
of works for me.
I do shady stuff too when I have my own repo that nobody else is working on. I have even used master just plain without any other branch. If
Without
it is
any
a
other
short
branch. Okay?
project and no other people is working on it, then
And besides, the whole essence of having all the commits means you can revert
yeah,
back.
you can go back to anyone. Yeah,
Yes, you
correct.
can go back
Yes.
to
Yeah,
anyone.
that's good. Okay, I think that's good enough for all the things. And the last topic we have is the algo exercise. Are you ready?
Okay.
Let's
I
move on
hope
to that. So,
I hope
the exercise for this one would be to get to create a function that returns the product of every item of an array except itself. If you got this far into the video, don't forget to subscribe to receive more content like this that will help you become a better developer. Basically, you will have an array input that will contain integers, right? In this case, 2, 3, and 4.
strictly
And
integers.
yes, correct. That can be variable, of course, but that is just an example, so you can use it. Basically, you have to create that function product of array except self that should return a new array that will be 12, 8, and 6. Just wanted to confirm so I don't mess up. That will be the result expected from that function. Basically, what it is
Okay,
doing is,
the result
for each
expected from here.
element, it will do the product of all the other elements except itself. So in the
Oh,
first index, it will be the product of 2 times 4, 3 times 4, sorry. So it does not use the 2, and 3 times 4,
oh,
it is
okay.
12. In the second element, it will do 2 times 4, and that will be 8. And in the third element, it will do 2 times 3,
Times
and that will be
three.
6. Correct?
Okay. This
So
is sounding
how?
interesting.
Yeah, sure. You can have some minutes to think about it and just
Okay.
start typing on VS Code what you think.
Okay. So I don't have to bother about invalid inputs.
No, 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 no weird
Okay.
scenarios for
It's
this one.
clean.
It
No
is
weird
good that you
scenario.
ask because it is very important to consider those, but I don't mind for the sake of this exercise to add those extra if at the initial
Okay.
phase.
I'm thinking of using what is it called? I'm thinking of using the reduce function in JavaScript.
Okay.
But with the reduce function, okay, okay. I see what's happening here. So it means it's going to be, I look through, it's
Hmm.
going to be an exponential uh, O of n squared.
Okay,
That is
that
what
could
I think
happen.
this
It
is going
depends on
to
how you tackle the problem, but if you do
be and how I tackle it.
nested loops or a loop with some reducer or something that inside does another loop,
Oh,
then you
okay.
will have O of n squared. That is not necessarily bad. If you come up with a solution that is O n squared, that is all right. You already solved the problem. But we can
Okay.
probably go further and get a
We
solution
can
that is
further.
linear in
Okay. Or
time
another instance
complexity.
will be to like I don't know, and get the product of all the arrays
Okay, I
and
am liking this.
divide by the current array. How about that?
Yes, that's very good. That is the solution I
But
got when I
I
first did
have
this.
no idea how that would, what the impact of that one would be on
That is linear time.
me-
If you do that,
what,
that is linear time because you will be
but linear time.
Yeah, you will be doing 2 times a loop, right? One to get the full product, and then you will do another loop to do the division. So let's code that out so everyone can see it on the video,
It's
and and we can
I
discuss
hope
this further. But
I
it is pretty good. Were you already familiar with this exercise, or did you just thought of it?
no, this is the first time this
Oh, that
particular
is very
one.
good.
Let
That
me
is very
copy.
good,
Let me
man.
copy. Let me
Congrats.
copy the name. I was expecting something like maybe you would ask me that I should flatten an
Yeah.
array.
Well, I didn't knew your current level of algorithmic, so I didn't want to go very difficult, and this was a good exercise. This is
Okay.
not very easy. I actually I actually give this exercise in some interviews, and there are people that cannot solve it, and most of them solve it
Well,
in
let's
O
let's
n
let's hope I
square.
can solve it as well.
So it is very good that you came up with this solution so fast. So let's just code
No,
it
no.
out and
Let's hope I can solve it. Don't assume I know it already.
well, you already put the ideas to solve it. It is just writing the code now. And
Okay,
also
so
remember this is not going to compile. We are not going to run it. So just it is pseudocode. So to check
we are
how
not going to
the
run it
logic will be.
really. I think just to be safe, there's a method I can use to check to be sure this input is an array. So something like
Okay,
is array in JavaScript. So I can just use this to check
sounds good. Yeah. When I
just to
solved
be
it,
sure.
I did it on C sharp, so I already had a type there, and I didn't need this if, but that is good to check on JavaScript.
Okay, if it's array, okay, or let me say if it's not an array, I just return. Let's say okay, just return null instead.
Sounds good.
So if everything goes fine, I can start working on it here. Okay. So now since we are returning an array, we are
Yes.
returning another array. I think I'll prefer to use this method called map. Okay, so I'll just say return. Okay, another typo. I don't know what's wrong. So there's this method called map.
Yes.
So it will map through all the arrays. So you can just put in another function here that would work on each
Element.
item in the
Right.
array.
Yes.
Okay. So and it takes the first would be the current item in the array. Let me call it current 30. The next will be the index of the array.
Okay.
Then the third will be the whole array itself, everything. It will give you everything in the third. So what do I call the third? Okay, let me call it all.
Sounds good.
I mean, I don't know if if that's the best way to name it. So I'm supposed to return something here. So since you said it's supposed to like get the product of everything except itself, right?
Yes. Correct.
Get the product of everything except itself. Ah, I'm afraid I'm not sure I can do anything better than an exponential. I doubt it.
Well,
I
but wait. Because you already solved it. You said to me how you will solve it, and that wasn't with O and a square. This approach is probably with a square because you started already with a map. Um, yeah, that's the problem. If you already do a map and inside of it you will have to do another loop
I
or
would have
another
to do
map,
another loop.
that will be
Oh
a
my
square.
god.
Yes.
Okay,
But
okay, okay.
wait a
What?
second.
Okay.
Let's
How
think
about
back.
I just wrap up this one, then I try to
Okay, yeah, that's
modify
good. If
and
you prefer to do
yeah.
that, that is fine. Yeah.
Okay. So with this one, I don't even think I need the index, but okay, it's okay. I'm not going to use it since it's not like a. So in this one, I'll do another map. No, no, not another map here. I will do a reduce here for all the items in the array.
Okay.
Then I did. I, I, well, I don't even necessarily need to call this guy here. I don't need it. Neither do I need the index. I'm not using it for anything. I'll just use the original array out there. So I can do a reduce. I can do arr dot reduce. So the reduce will take function of the first and the next item in the array, and we'll just do a product of it, something like this. So, but in my own case, I would have to divide the result by the current. So, and I think this would give us what we want. So the map would, like, so for the first one, which is 2, right?
Yes.
Let me see. Okay, maybe I should copy this so the
Yes, as a
VS Code
comment.
so I don't
Yeah.
have, so I don't
Yes.
have to. Let me put it up here. Let me put it up here. Let me just put it up here. So for the first one, it's going to do 3 times 3 times 4 divided by 2, which is 3 times 4, which is 12. The second one will be 2 times 3 times 4, divided by 3, which will give us 8. So this is the n squared. Yeah,
Yes, correct.
this is
Yeah,
the n
I
squared.
am maybe some syntax. I am not sure if we are missing something, but the idea is correct. You will map
Okay,
all the
okay.
elements
I
and
just
then
have
do a
to the
reduce
element.
of all the multiplications of them and just divide it by the current one.
Oh, I think I just received wisdom.
Okay, okay.
I have an idea now. So I think what I can do here is this. I'm not still sure it's linear time. I am not sure about that. But I can just get the product, the total product of all the items in the array.
Yes, correct.
Then, um,
Let's do it. Let's
then
write that.
okay,
That is the first
let's
step.
check. So should I
Yeah.
scratch this or
Yes, yes, you can remove it. That
okay?
is
Let me
all
get rid of
square
this.
and we don't care
Let me
about that. You
let
already
me
have
get rid of
better
this,
ideas.
right?
Yes.
So I don't know if I should go the old fashioned. Let me go the old fashioned.
Sounds good. You can use a 4
Let me
if
go
you
the
want.
old fashioned for let I. That's, I don't know why I'm going old fashioned.
It is
These
fine.
days
You
we don't.
already prove you
These
know
days
high
we
order,
don't
so
do
you
this
can write a
in,
4.
for I equals 0, then ar dot length. Um, okay, no, I is less than,
Yes,
I is
correct.
less than this. Then I plus plus. So here I will just since let me create a variable here that will hold the products. I'll call it product.
Sounds good.
Let product, which I will initialize it. Do I have
I don't know. Do you
to?
have to?
Okay,
That is a good
okay.
question.
Let me initialize it to 1, and it's for a
Yes.
good reason anyway.
Yes, that's
So
very
what I
good.
would do here is this. I would say product uh, equal to ARR and the current index. So this will like update the product, right?
Yes, correct. That's very good. It is
Then
important that you initialize it with 1, otherwise it will be 0. If you start it,
yeah,
or if
yeah.
you don't even initialize at all, it will throw exceptions. But if you put a 0 in there, that is a common mistake, then you will not compute the product because it will be 0 times whatever will always retrieve 0.
Okay, so I think I'm done here.
Yes.
I now need to I'll need to have another array which I would call results. Okay, I don't know. Maybe let me just put it here.
Yeah, that's
Let me
good.
call it results. Or initialize it to an empty array. So what I'll do here is I will go through each once again, but this time around I will let me clean this up so it doesn't distract me. Sorry. So what I'll do here is this. I would push for each index. I will push the current value Let me say push since it's an array. Or push the product.
Yes.
Product divide by the current array. So it'll be something like this. So then at the end of the function, I return the result. Return result. I know if I were in C sharp sharp, okay, C plus plus or any of those, I won't be forgiven if I don't.
Yes, that's correct.
Anyway, PHP was about the first language I kind of mastered back then. So, and without these semicolons, you can't go far. So,
Yeah, that's
I've
good.
gotten
That's
used
good.
to it. Even though
That's
it's
good.
optional in JavaScript, I still have the bad habit of, you know. Okay, now, as much as you are saying we shouldn't run this code, I feel strongly we should.
No, that's fine. That's fine. If you want to, we can try it. But for me, that is perfect. You already solved
No,
the problem.
I feel strongly I should. So let me just
Okay,
do that
go ahead,
here.
do it.
I'll
Yeah, we
just
can take
use
a look.
it's not like I have plenty samples that. Okay, let me just use your own array here, which has 2,
Go ahead.
3,
Yeah.
and 4, right?
Yes.
2, 3, and 4. So let me save, and I believe we should have the result on the console. Where is it? If everything goes fine, the result should appear here.
Did you
So
do
it's
the console
reloading.
log? I did not see that.
No, it's supposed to refresh automatically. It's supposed to. Okay. Is it not refreshing? I
I
hope I
don't
saved
think
it.
you're logging it.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't console log the
Yeah,
results. Don't
that's
mind
what
me.
I was saying.
Okay, now
You return the result
that
but never
that's
log it.
another thing.
Yeah.
I didn't. So let me just say const result again. So on the next line, I'll say console log results. So this should work.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's try it.
let's try it and see.
Crossing fingers.
Sometimes I. Yes, I think we have the results here.
Yes, we have
12,
it.
8, and 6.
Very good. That's great, man.
Oh my God.
Congratulations. Okay. Yeah,
So
it
that
is
was a recent
it
way.
is not only working, but you also you really first you thought about it. You came up with different approaches. You realize about the problems in complexity time for this, and you provided 2 solutions for each one, and using both high order functions and writing the for loop itself. So that is pretty complete. Perfect. Congratulations.
Okay, I think I
And
should be happy with myself.
yeah, for sure, for sure. This is not very common. I will tell you that. And yeah, I think that will be all for this. We went much longer than half hour, but I think it was very
Oh,
productive.
okay,
And
really?
yeah,
Okay, how time flies.
yeah, really, it was very good. Do you have any questions?
It's
Something
all
you
right.
want to share?
So I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Am
sure.
I getting the job?
I hope I could make that decision, but yeah,
No, no,
it,
no.
it
I'm
was
just
just a
joking.
mock.
Anyway, it's a mock interview.
So yeah, I think this will be very valuable. I will probably upload this. I will be uploading it raw in one take, but I will have to add an introduction and some closure maybe. And yeah, you can check it out later on the channel on this week. And yeah, just say bye to everyone and thank you so much for being here,
Bye,
Daniel.
and thank you for watching. And if you really want to have a good journey, I recommend the Math Code Journey.
Oh, thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you. See you in the
You're
next
welcome.
one, everyone. And don't forget to
Bye.
subscribe.